Namaste and good morning, everyone. Let's start the class with prayers. Om Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Devo, Maheshwara, Guru Sakshat Parbrahma, Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Om Bhurbhuva Swaha, Tatsavitra Varenyam, Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi, Diyo Yo Nah Prachodayat. Asto ma sadgamya, tamso ma jyotirgamya, mrityorma amritam gamya. Om Sena Bhavatu, Sena Bhunaktu, Saviryam Karvave, Tejasvi Navaditamastu, Ma Vidvishavahe. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Let's open our books. Mundak Upanishad, and we are on chapter 3, section 2. And if you remember the last verse, the verse number 3, the technique of negation was used. And in that one, he said, the self is not attained through discourses, nor through memorizing scriptural texts, nor through much learning. It is gained only by him who wishes to attain it with a heart, pure heart. To such a person, self reveals its true nature. So we got to cultivate the purity in us. So the idea behind the scriptural studies, idea behind remembering these verses, idea behind giving the charity or doing the seva, all of that is, hey, is my heart getting pure or not? Pure heart. More purity, the clearer we can see. Clearer. That's what we need to do. Now he's going to give us more techniques. So it's almost like a continual of the previous mantra. Verse number 4. Na ayam atma balhinen labhya, na cha pramadat tapsava api alingat, ete upaye yatate yatu vidwan, tasya eshaha atma vishate brahmadham. No means not, ayam means this, atma, the soul, balhinen, by the weak, labhya is attained. Na means nor, cha, and pramadat. Over here, this pramadat means mere excitement. Tapsaha, austerity. Va means or, api means also, alingat, without ling. Ete, by those, upaya, methods, yatate, strives. Ya means who, to, but, vidwan, wise person. Thus say to him, Esha, this Atma, Vishate, attains Brahma Dham. The self is not gained by a weak person. Weak over here means weak in the body, weak in the mind, weak in the intellect. That's the weakness he's talking about. Atma is never weak. Only the layers can become weak. And these layers have been given to us to do the sadhana. So he says the self is not gained by a person who is weak in body, mind, and intellect, nor by the insincere, nor by those practicing unintelligent austerities. So over here, pramadat tapsaha. See, there is a reason we do the tapasya, and we got to know what is an intelligent tapasya. Tapasya could be just a very tamasic tapasya too, or a rajasic tapasya. So this is what he's trying to bring it out to our attention, unintelligent austerities. But wise person who strive with vigor, attention, attains a union with the Brahma. So whatever method we use, we got to use it intelligently while keeping the goal in mind. So in this verse, he is bringing it out some ordinary misconceptions about the spiritual life, so-called spiritual life. So we got to have a strong pursuit and faith in our sadhana. A person who is still deluded, a person who has doubts in himself, herself, doubt on the path a person is walking on, is a weak person. Sure, we need a strong body, but we need a very clear and restful mind and intellect also. So that's why this weakness, don't just understand that it's only at the bodily level. It's at the mental and intellectual level also. Only then we will see our spiritual progress. We have taken a handle on it. Neither by mere excitement nor by tapasya. Without a ling, can one hope to climb the ladder of spirituality. After meeting a great master, great guru, or listening to certain discourses, a person gets very enthusiastic. So that is a weak enthusiasm. Sure, that excitement is needed, but sometimes out of that excitement, we make hasty decisions. We just even go on the path of renunciation. That's a false renunciation. It's almost like a temporary warmth of spirituality which cannot sustain itself. So that's what this pramadat tapasa is. So the science of self-perfection denies all such blitz movements. For example, too many fasts, too many sleepless nights, painful pilgrimages. That's what he's pointing it out to us. That's not walking on the path of spirituality. Out of excitement, we just do it and waste our effort and waste our time. And then he says, lingat. Ling means a symbol or a sign. When we see that sign, our intellect wakens up. We deduce certain reliable truths. For example, if we see the smoke rising from the valleys of a distant hill, we will deduce that there's a fire. And over here, the smoke is the ling from which we have come to the knowledge of the fire. That's a ling. Same way, the Shiv ling means a particular sign at the site of which we deduce or infer the presence of a mighty Lord of Kailash, Shiv ling. So just like in the previous mantra, over here also, he is denying. He says that these small things, they will not give you the success. Don't fool yourself. With all kindness, he's pointing out the right path also, correct methods of self-perfection also. Just by looking at the Shivling is not going to give you self-perfection. You got to see that, hey, do I really feel connected with the Lord? Do I have those qualities? They are coming in my personality or not? Do I feel peaceful? Do I feel the wisdom coming to me? Do I have clarity or not? So intelligent person who strive with vigor and sincerity and practice, keep on practicing, will rediscover this supreme truth, the Brahman. All the false notions, they will melt away. The clarity will be there about himself and about everything else too. Infinite and omnipotent in their true immortal nature as the self. Then in next verse he says, Samprapye enam rishyaha gyan triptaha krit atmanaha vit ragaha prashantaha te sarvagam sarvataha prapya dhiraha yukt atmana sarvam ev avishanti. This is verse number 5. Samprapye, having attained. Enam, this, rishya, sages, the seers, gyan triptaha, satisfied with knowledge. Krit atmana, with their purposes fulfilled. Krit atmana. Vit raga, free from attachment. See, rag is the attachment, vit means gone away. Prashantaha, peaceful. Te means they, sarvagam, all pervading. Sarvata, on all sides. Prapye, having attained. Dhiraha, a wise person. Yukt atmanaha, devoted to the self. Sarvam, all, ev, alone. Avishanti, enter into. When the sages have attained the Atma, they become satisfied with their knowledge. Because they know that that is the goal. I want to know myself. That was the only purpose for this knowledge. So when the sages have attained that Atma, they become satisfied with their knowledge. The purpose is fulfilled. They become free from desire. They gain tranquility. We also wonder, what are we after? How do we know whether we are reaching or not? We should check. Our worldly desires, worldly attachments, is it going down day by day or not? Do we feel peaceful any moment, anywhere, anytime or not? Because rishis, they feel that. Having attained the all-pervading Atma on all sides, they thereafter devote to the self and enter into everything. So at once they feel part of everything. God is everywhere. They don't talk my God and your God, my Guru and your Guru. At once, everywhere. That is the peace. So in the last two mantras, we have been told that this realization of the self is so difficult. Because by doing this, you are not going to get there. And he has been talking about the technique of accomplishing it so delicate and exacting. So doubt might come into a seeker's mind. The person who's just starting out, or you can call it uninitiated, that why even walk on this path if it's so difficult? Why launch themselves into such a pilgrimage? So answer is given here in this verse. Why work so hard? Why go through all this? Because the reward is something which is out of this world. When the goal is so big, we have to work hard too. Seeker, having realized the self, becomes completely satisfied. Completely satisfied. The Kritya, in his own knowledge of his own rediscovered selfhood. Because if there was a dreadful feeling until now, that I'm a mortal weakling, if there's a uneasiness in the mind, now, after discovering himself to be the spiritual center of the entire universe, that very knowledge is more than sufficient to make him blissful, happy, peaceful. That's why he says their purpose is fulfilled. Otherwise, life seems like, to most of us, a struggle, agitation, problem after problem. But not this sphere. We want to reach there. That's why we need to do sadhana. Because we want to feel this complete sense of fulfillment. Where all our worldly desires, they dry up. And all our plannings, and also, because why do we plan? Fulfill the desire. No planning. That is what living in the present, or living moment to moment, really means. The state of Krit Karityata. Even yesterday we were talking about that, when we were talking about Karma Yogi. This state yielding for us a steady satisfaction of having gained all that is to be gained. जो करने आए थे हो गया. That is it. Complete fulfillment. Known, all that is to be known. Seen, all that to be seen. Gained immediately at the ending of our ignorance. Because our ignorance is the one which is telling us, I have to do this. I have to go there. I got to plan this. All that is avidya. Because we are ignorant about our own divine nature. So with the discovery of our true identity as the self, the accomplished seeker gains the state of complete fulfillment. This is what this rishi means. That doesn't mean he doesn't do anything. That doesn't mean he doesn't plan. But he doesn't plan to plan. In that moment, He needs to do something, he does it. That is it. Full stop. No commas. I got to do this, I got to do this, I got to do this in order to attain that. No. Attained what needed to be attained. Knows what needed to be known. Krita kriteta. Naturally, in that sense of complete fulfillment, there cannot be any desire. Supreme awareness, when it gets identified with a particular body, mind, and intellect, becomes in its newborn vanity, a finite and a suffering mortal soul. That is called ego. Ego. When the ego renounces all its identifications with all these wrappings of the matter, it regains its glory. That glory is all pervading life force. Ego has melted away for this kind of a person. I often give you the example of a pot. When it's broken, the pot space, the inside the space in the pot becomes at once with the all pervading space. And this is what happens to a personality like that. Because we know that even inside the pot, the space was never limited actually. It's only the way we were seeing, we think that their pot is holding that inner space. It was always part of that complete space. So that's how we are. Our real self is always one with the universal self. Only our upadhis are thinking that, no, this is me and that is them. So we got to melt away these egocentric misconceptions. So when the seeker, by rejecting his identification with his mind, intellect, and body, rediscovers himself to be nothing but a pure awareness, he becomes one with the all-pervading self. Finds one with everything. He becomes the inner ruler in every name and form. In this entire time-space world. This is what he's telling us. Number 6. Vedant Vigyan Sunishchitartha Sannyas Yogad Yatyaha Shuddha Sattvaha Te Brahmlokeshu Prant Kale Par Amritaha Parimuchyanti Sarve. So verse number 6. Vedant Vigyan. Vedant is another term for the Upanishads. Ved, towards the end of the Vedas. So knowledge of the Upanishads, Vedant Vigyan. So Nishchitartha, well ascertained. That means fully understanding it, believing in it, and ultimately realizing it. Sannyas Yogad, with the yoga of renunciation. Yatyaha, sages. Shuddha Sattvaha, purified. Te means they, Brahma Lokeshu, in the world of Brahma. Parant Kale, at the time of death. Par Amritaha, having attained immortality. Parimuchyanti, liberated. Sarve, all. Having well ascertained, beyond all doubts, the exact import of the Upanishads, and having purified their minds with the yoga of renunciation, they attain the world of Brahman, having attained immortality, and at the time of death become fully liberated. So having well ascertained Vedant Vigyan Sunishchitartham, because there is a difficulty in understanding correctly the scriptures. We know that some of the mantras are not very clear. Exact meaning is very deep, very difficult to grasp, because it's very hard, this finite language, to explain the infinite. No language can do that, even though Sanskrit is the mother of all the languages, very deep also, but still, it's a language. If at all words could express that which is beyond speech, they can only do so by means of their suggestiveness. So that's why in the Upanishads, we see that suggestiveness. So the Upanishadic mantras, they have their achievements only in their play of suggestiveness. So then our own intellect has to be clear also, ready to absorb those suggestiveness also. So if we have a doubt, we won't be able to absorb it fully. So that's why the personal study of the scriptures may not be always sufficient to help the students to go beyond the literary meaning of the language used. So that's why, to a large extent, a master of experience, nishtha, is needed to complete the study of the Upanishad. And that is part of that's how we understand this term Upanishad also. So it is there that the mantra here qualifies a great seeker as one who has well ascertained, beyond traces of doubts, true import of the sacred mantras, so that there's no misunderstanding. See, that's what Sunishchit means. Sunishchit artham. So no misunderstanding, no half understanding, and no non-understanding. So you say, no, I got it now. That is a Sunishchit. Otherwise, he would have used the word just a nishchit. Sunishchit. So it can blockade the real fulfillment of a sincere study of the scriptures. Another term we got to understand, the sannyas yoga. It should not be taken to mean in its literal meaning. That means having taken a sannyas. That means us, most of us are householders over here. I think all of us are householders in this class. Yoga of renunciation is more an internal revolution of the values of life, which we entertain and live rather than we advertise or declare it to the world. Externally, with our clothes or with our tilaks or with leaving our homes. Okay, sannyas is internal. We got to understand a sannyas is a mental sannyas. With all our emphasis in our internal attitude of the mind rather than upon the external physical show or a sannyasi status. A mere external show is not that externally somebody is a sannyasi, cannot be internally sannyasi. But if we just have only external sannyas, it will not take us even by an inch nearer to our great goal, which we are seeking. It's almost like you buy land and you put a fence around it. That will not give you a crop. You got to clean out all the weeds, till the ground, sow the seeds, water the seeds, fertilize the seeds also. And even after that, you have a lot to do before you have a crop. The same thing for this yoga sannyas. Our internal attitude of our mind, we have to look at it. So the yoga of renunciation indicates our mental renunciation of all the grossness in us. And what is the grossness in us? All the negative tendencies. I don't think I have to repeat those, but let me go through it quickly. Lust, greed, passions, egoism, vanity, cruelty, hatred, attachments. And you can add a lot more in this list. We need to renounce these, the negative tendencies. See, just like we got to take out all the weeds. Taking out the weeds is not enough to have a crop. You have to plant the seeds also. So in our own mind, what kind of seeds we plant? Love, tenderness, mercy, tolerance, kindness, purity, nobility, patience, self-control, selflessness. This is called a yoga of renunciation. So that means there's a lot of work needs to be done. This mind we've been carrying lives after lives. We don't know how thick it is, how dirty it is. We need to clean it first. This is a yoga sannyas. So having ascertained well the Upanishadic imports, that seeker will successfully carry out this inner revolution in character, attitude, values in life. He's fit to meditate. Because the mind is very pure, intellect is poised, it can easily fly in the dimensionless realms of the self. Without it, no progress is ever possible. Remember that. There's no magic about it. We cannot just wish for a right time, a right day, or a right this, or right that. No, we have to work for it. Again and again, these rishis are telling us. Often we just go to one guru and we say, no, I haven't really gotten it. We just move to another one, then the other one. This idol and that idol, and this place and that place. Without working on ourselves. We got to work on ourselves. The real work is the work on our mind. Then another thing I want to clear over here, he says, attain the world of Brahma. We were learning that Brahma is one, without a second, then what does it really mean? If there's a world for Brahma, what is this then? Because this really indicates the polarity. Remember these kind of explanations are for some students who are just starting out. They have not really truly grasped that Brahma is one and Brahma is everywhere. Because from the infinite, when we view, the finite exists not. The finite is but a superimposition upon the infinite. That is definitely the truth. But if our mind is not ready to grasp that, we think, no, there is another world where the Brahma is. But remember, Brahma is here, there, everywhere. Our mantra, they say it all the time. Om Bhurbhavasva. There's no place where Brahma is not. And when he says that at the time of death, the person becomes fully liberated, what does this death means? We see the dogs dying and the cats dying and the mice dying and human beings dying, mosquitoes dying. So you think they are just becoming one? But to understand that what are here, we need to end. The death is, this kind of a death is only the death of the false vanities. The delusive ego sense, that's what we need to die off. When the type I dies, what remains is the godly and the all-pervading spiritual I. Where ego ends, Godhood starts. So we need to let go of this ego. So it's not a death of a physical body. It's a death of our ego. This little I has to merge in the big I. That's what's called liberation. That's what's called moksha. And this is what this Rishi is taking us towards. But remember, he's telling us to do the sadhana again and again. Keep your body strong, because with the help of this vehicle, you are doing the sadhana. Keep on doing your duties. Otherwise, you will get agitated very easily. Unnecessarily, you'll get involved. But to have clarity. So now next week, we'll start with verse number 7. And this Rishi is talking about the Panchadash Kala, which we learned in our Prashna Upanishad. When we did that, Panchadash Kala. So let's stop it here. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Visheshyate Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Thank you very much.